ahead at the upcoming basketball season. Nia Clouden returns after leading the team in, everything last year. They're bringing in recruits. They're bringing in transfers. They're looking to make it 3 straight NCAA tournament appearances. They are a talented team. They were fun to watch last year, and we're glad to bring in Nia Clouden, Tory Ozment, and Suzy Merchant to start things off here on our second day. I want to start off with something. I hope it's not too controversial, but I really think it's important that we lead with it. Did we end up getting any pizza parties for the 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio last year?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
I think 2, didn't we?
I think so.
We think 2.
Because it was for practice, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Because it was always that in games you guys were fine at it, but in practice there was the struggle.
Yeah, that might not have come to fruition.
Yeah, I don't
game
think so.
only. It was a game only rule. Let's change it.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
More
That's
pizza.
Good. You guys are such an interesting team, but also you're bringing in someone interesting, Tamara Farquhar. What had you interested in her?
Well, I think when you look at what she brings to a team, we have a lot back, a lot of scoring, right? Dynamic play, experience, our top 7 scorers. We really needed someone that could do some dirty work, and especially on the defensive end. She's a great rebounder at both ends of the floor. She's long, she's lanky, she can guard sort of 1 through 5, to be honest. And so we really needed someone like her, I think. And so she really fit what we needed in the offseason.
Yeah, she did a little bit of everything for Purdue last year. Another important player on your roster, Eliza Winston. She took a big scoring jump last year from the year before. Can she get even better offensively this year?
She can. She's had a tremendous offseason. I mean, she's been in the gym a ton. I think, when you lose an NCAA tournament game and you're right there by 3-4 points, there's things that drive you in the offseason. I think her success, certainly she made that big jump, as you mentioned, 11 points a game, 36% from the arc, a great 3-point shooter, but there's always one more level, right? And Eliza's got that in her, and she's had a really good offseason.
Nia, you started every game the last 3 years. I mean, that is selfish. You have teammates who would like you to share. Can we please work on that this year?
We gotta talk to you about that one.
I guess so. I kind of like the ball in her hands a lot, though.
Yeah?
Yes.
Why do you like the ball in her hands?
Oh man, because she reminds me of a little running back, to be honest. Like, she can see a hole and she darts through it. By the time the defense closes, she's already through there. I think that, and she's a team kid too, so she can score the ball and she can set people up. So I love having the ball in Nia's hands. It's a good feeling as a coach going into every game, having her run the team.
Tory, what is it like being on the court with Nia?
Being on the court with Nia is awesome.
Thank you.
I'm really thankful that we came in together and we had these 4 years together. But the best thing that I like about Nia is she can score, she can get her points, but she's so unselfish and she's always willing to put the team on the line before herself. So that's my favorite thing about Nia, and I love being on the court with her.
Thank you.
All right, so you guys seem to say she's not actually selfish the way I
She's
phrased it.
not selfish, I promise.
Fair enough. Nia, where do you want to get better this year?
I think first I would have to start defensively. I know she'll love to hear that. But yes, definitely better defensively, and then just sharpen everything up, make better reads, better passes, more assists, just improve my game all around from last year.
How do you describe the partnership you have with Eliza Winston?
Yes, it's exactly what it is, a partnership. Like, we're always together at practice. We're always lift partners when we lift. Like, we're pretty close. So it's really a partnership. We play off of each other, and we encourage each other the whole time, every practice, every game.
Everybody had to battle COVID-related issues. You had to be out for a little while. What was the most challenging part once you came back?
Probably just getting back into the rhythm of things. I mean, you had to sit out for 14 days, and then, you can't return until day 17, so you can't run, you can't do any of that conditioning part. So when I did get back, just kind of getting back on the floor, getting up and down again was probably my biggest struggle.
Are you excited to have fans back, Nia?
Yes, I'm so excited to get my family back in there, and then the rest of the fans, Spartan Nation, they're the best fans in the country.
What was it like? I mean, was it basically like a practice? Is that what it felt like every game?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like a practice. It seemed like for the big games, it's like you kind of tune everything out anyway. So like when we played Michigan on the road, it felt like a rivalry game anyway, but you can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah. Suzy, I joked earlier that you've been here as long as we have as a network. You came in right when we started. And I remember when we were back here in 08 and 09 and 10, it'd be Steph White and I and Vera Jones, we'd be sitting here. We'd do the Big Ten tournament coverage, and we'd be going, Well, 3 teams are going to the tourney, maybe 4.
Yep.
Think of where this league is now.
Yeah.
How did that happen, that there could easily be 8 teams in the tournament this year?
Yeah, I mean, last year there was 7 and should have been 8, right? But I don't know. I just see really good coaches that are committed to this game and the sport. I think our fan base across the board in the Big Ten, they're really hard places to play. And when you see that as a recruit, you want to come there and be part of something special like that. So I think that's part of it too. But just a lot, I think there's credit to a lot of the coaches in this league who have done a really good job, whether they're taking over and transitioning something into something bigger and better, or they've taken it to another height. And I think this year it's even going to be harder, more of a grind. I mean, we had that COVID as Nia and Tory alluded to. So I think there was times when you were maybe playing a team that didn't have their best players out there, or maybe you got their best players and the next team didn't. So I think now that we're kind of through some of that, I think looking forward to a true season with fans, home court will matter. Home court advantage is going to matter.
Yeah. There are 2 new head coaches this season. I know you're not in the business of having them have success, but if they were to come to you and say, I'd like some advice, what would you tell them?
I would definitely tell them to embrace what the Big Ten network has done. Certainly it starts there. I think the visibility for women's basketball is exceptional. So kudos to all of you in the Big Ten network and the Big Ten's mission and vision. Kevin Warren has come in and really rejuvenated women's basketball, and appreciate everything that he has done. He's put his money where his mouth is. Everybody likes to talk, but what are you willing to do? And I think he's done a tremendous job. So I would tell them to embrace what we have here and celebrate it, and celebrate each other and the successes that we do have.
Yeah. I've asked you a lot about your team. Let me ask about other teams. Who's the player in the Big Ten that you have to face that makes you go, oh, goodness?
You want to go first?
You go first.
I'll go first. Probably Caitlin Clark from Iowa, but I think Iowa has a really good team. She has a lot of good players with her, so Iowa's always a tough team to play.
I would say Ashley Owusu from Maryland. She's a really big guard. She's strong, and she's really good at getting downhill and mid-range jumpers too. And then we're both kind of from the same area, DMV, so we've been playing against each other for a little while now, so I'll say her.
But what's cool is those names are perfectly valid. There could be 5, 6, 7, 8 more names you could have thrown out, because this league is so good and so deep this year. Tory, Nia, Suzy, thanks so much. Have a great season. We're looking forward to covering you all year long.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's check in on the men now. Dave?
Well, here are the Michigan State men and the story with them. Aaron Henry moving on. You see a new point guard in Tyson Walker. They did make the NCAA tournament last year for the 23rd straight time, extending the longest streak ever for a Big Ten program. And we're joined by the man who has overseen all of those trips, Tom Izzo, along with 2 of the veterans on his team, Gabe Brown and Malik Hall. I want to start with this. I don't think the expectations are as high for your team as they typically are. You certainly are aware of that. That doesn't mean that's where you'll end up, but that's what people are saying in the preseason. How do you handle that as a coach? I was talking about this with Andy and Steve, and I'm interested to get your take on it.
Well, first of all, the expectations inside the building
Externally, yes,
are as high, but externally, rightfully so. I mean, we haven't done enough. There's some teams that have brought some incredible players back. We're now a team that I don't know how you want to say it. I guess we're looking up at some people. Usually we're looking down at them, but every once in a while it's okay. You know, I don't want to be there very often, but every once in a while it's okay. You redo everything you've done. You think about it. You try to come up with better things. I think these guys would tell you we had probably the best summer since they've been there. And the focus is a little bit more. Everybody understands it. But the teams that are ahead of us deserve to be, too. I mean, Purdue, Michigan, Illinois, they all got numerous guys back. And we've got, I think, a good combination. But I think what you're going to see, led by these 2 guys, Joey Hauser, both our point guards, I think we're a lot better, and those point guards are going to make these guys better.
Gabe, when you nodded when Coach Izzo said you guys had a really good summer, how so? Tell me what was different this summer than in previous summers.
Previous summer, as looking back, I mean, it was a COVID year.
Yeah.
We didn't really get a chance to be in the gym as much as we wanted to. Looking back at this past summer, I mean, guys were just locked in. each and every day in the weight room, off the court, with school, just everything. Guys were just locked in.
Malik, when you think about kind of what we were talking about with Coach, do you take it personally when you see Michigan State maybe not picked in the top 3 in the league?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I think it doesn't really matter, though. As long as we believe in what we have and what we can do together, I think that's the only thing that really matters.
You know, it's interesting to think about last year, and you guys played in the first 4, and you lost to UCLA in a really close game, and UCLA ends up in the Final 4, right? So there's clearly no shame in losing to them. They were one of the great stories of the NCAA tournament. I'm interested from all of you, and Gabe, we can start with you. Was there a part of you that looked at this and thought, man, that could have been us?
For sure. At the end of the day, that's what the program is based off, winning. I mean, at the end of the day, when we go into every game, we want to win. It didn't happen, so we prepared for next year.
Yeah. Malik, what did you think as you saw them making this deep tournament run and thought the degree to which you had them on the ropes?
It's definitely upsetting. We definitely shouldn't have lost that one. I remember sitting at home watching them make their run, and me and a couple of my teammates were sitting there like we should have been there. And we will be soon.
Coach, you're smiling.
Well, I agree, but the sad part is we lost that game like we lost 3 or 4 other games. I mean, we did not finish games as well last year, and I think they're much more ready to finish games. I think we understood it, whether it's a cutout, whether it's a missed free throw, whether it's a turnover. You've got to do the things you got to do to win down the stretch, and usually that takes more leadership, guard play. And I think we're going to have a little bit more of each. And I think these guys understand it. They've been there. They've been there where they've been to a Final Four, and they've been there when they, have gone through some adversity, meaning the, of course, pandemic. And but no excuses for anybody. I think they both said it well. We're looking forward to redeeming ourselves. But Michigan State normally is standing at the top, and that's what we're going to get back to.
Let's talk about those 2 issues that you broke down. Let's start with leadership. I'm guessing the 2 guys sitting next to you are among your best leaders, but give me a sense of where the leadership comes from on this team and how you have seen these guys lead.
Well, it has to come from them. A coach can do so much, but a coach can't be in the locker room. A coach can't be in the apartments, the hotels the night before games. That's where you really learn about your leadership. And even in practices, they've done a good job of rallying guys together. And I've stayed out of those huddles, which I've never done before. I'm usually getting in the middle of those huddles. I've stayed out of them on purpose to see how they do it. We're 31 days away from opening with Kansas, I think it is. And so I want to see how they do. I probably haven't done a good enough job of developing leaders. I think leaders are somewhat born, but these guys have taken over. I think they've appreciated. They've been through the highest of highs, Final Four, and the lowest of lows, losing a 13-point lead to a team that went on to get to a Final Four. So not a lot of people have that kind of experience.
By the way, some teams would argue there are a lot lower lows than being in the NCAA tournament for a 23rd straight time, but it's all relative, right, with your program.
It is.
Malik and Gabe, Malik, you start. Give me a sense of leadership on this team and how you personally lead.
I think the one great thing about our team is that we have so many different people that are using their voice now. In the past last year, we didn't really have that many people that spoke up, and I think now at any given point, even if me or Gabe were to mess up, somebody else on the team is going to say something to us and make sure that we're in check, even if it comes to that. And I think that's the great part about the leadership that's taking part on this team.
Gabe?
Piggybacking off what Malik said, I mean, like I said, guys are just locked in more. Guys are focused. Guys are just want to win at the end of the day. And me and Malik got to bring to the table. We got to get on guys when it comes down to it at the end of the day.
You mentioned guard play as the other thing in those end-of-game situations, Tom, and we don't need to rehash. Point guard's been an issue here for a couple of years. So you bring in Tyson Walker from Northeastern. Give us a sense of his game and what you can expect.
Well, first of all, and I've said this many a times, I don't blame anybody last year. I tried to put a round peg in a square hole. That falls on the coach. So I have to take some blame in that whole thing if there's blame to give. But who knows who would have come up, raised up his game if we had a spring, summer, and fall. That was unfair to the people, so it was a perfect storm. But we didn't really have a true point guard. And we had some scorers, but not a true point guard. I think 2 things have happened. Malik Hall Malik Hall. I mean, A.J. Hogart has lost 20-some pounds and is a lot different player than the one that we saw last year, which has happened. I had Mateen Cleaves talk to him. He went through that as a freshman. And then bringing in Tyson, who is a true point guard who also defends. I mean, to be the defensive player of the year in the league and still average 17 points, you can do both. I think what maybe wasn't noticed with him, I think he gets other people's shots. We're going to open it up a little. Joey Hauser and Malik are going to be handling the ball a little bit more, too. We're going to open up some things a little bit more. But if we got a jet on the lane that can run the lane, we need someone to get him the ball, and I think we're better off in that respect.
One more player I want to ask each one of you about, Max Christie, a very highly touted recruit. You are smiling, Gabe. I'm guessing there's a reason, so why don't we let you go first?
Max is an unbelievable player that can really shoot it, and he can really defend, too, and rebound as well. He's been doing a great job on and off the court, watching film, going to class, just doing the little things.
Malik?
It's very coachable. Very, very coachable. He'll sit there, he'll take whatever you have to say to him, and then come back the next day and just work on it.
Well, I would agree. I think we got 3 really good freshmen. Pierre Brooks is coming. Jaden Akins has been a little bit of a surprise. He's very athletic and does some things. But Max Christie was the highest rated, and for once, maybe the rankers got it right. I don't want to say that and give the media credit, but I mean, he really has been the real deal, and I think they said it best. Yes, he can do everything well. He's still got to get better defensively. We all know that because every freshman does, but coachable. They're all coachable, and so we got a coach coaching him, we got an assistant coach coaching him, and I got 2 player coaches coaching him, and he's been receptive to all, and I think that speaks volumes about him.
Such a pleasure to talk to all 3 of you. You're on the Big Ten Network today. I know you'll be watching the Big Ten Network tomorrow, Michigan State and Rutgers. You'll be no one's more into Spartan football than Tom
let me
Izzo.
tell you, all 3 of us have been over there. The receiver is one of his best friends since high school. Gabe and I went over to a few practices. We're big Mel Tucker fans, so all you Spartan fans, we got some good things ahead.